जी, अगर आप यंग रिसर्चर हैं और आप चाह रहे हैं, एम्बिशन है आपके अंदर कि आप ड्रीम देख रहे हैं स्कैंडिनेवियन कंट्रीज़ में जिसमें स्वीडन है। तो आज हम स्वीडन की जो रेपुटेशन है, ये इनोवेशन और न्यू इनोवेशन और न्यू रिसर्च जो ग्राउंड ब्रेकिंग रिसर्च होती है, उस हवाले से काफ़ी जो है वो माना जाता है स्वीडन। तो इसी हवाले से आपकी स्टडीज़ के हवाले से कैसे इसमें हम आप पीएचडी या मास्टर का स्कॉलरशिप ले सकते हैं और स्पेशली पोस्ट डॉक के लिए जॉब के हवाले से वर्क वीज़ा। तो इसके लिए हमने दावत दी है, पोस्ट डॉक रिसर्चर हैं उस्मान साहब। और इनका एक्सपीरियंस जो है, इन्होंने मास्टर और बैचलर तो इनकी पाकिस्तान से है, फिर इन्होंने पीएचडी भी इटली से की है, और उसके बाद फिर ये अभी स्वीडन में चले गए हैं पोस्ट डॉक के लिए। तो इनसे पूछेंगे कि ये जो ट्रांजिशन है इनकी पाकिस्तान से स्पेशली पीएचडी और उसके बाद फिर जो पोस्ट डॉक की है, ये कैसा सफ़र रहा है, इनका एक्सपीरियंस जो है इटली का और स्वीडन का। और उसके बाद इनकी सर्टिफिकेशन मशीन लर्निंग, सीक्वेंस मॉडलिंग और डीप न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स, और इसके अलावा और भी काफ़ी सर्टिफिकेशंस हैं इनकी। तो ये बायोमेडिकल इंजीनियरिंग के अंदर इस वक्त पोस्ट डॉक रिसर्च जो है वो रिसर्च कर रहे हैं स्वीडन में। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच उस्मान साहब, रियली हैव अ नाइस टू हैव यू इन दिस सेशन, और आई होप विल गेट मोर इनसाइट्स अबाउट स्वीडन। तो मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन आपसे ये होगा कि आप कैसे डिस्क्राइब करते हैं आपकी ट्रांजिशन, जो आपकी ख़ास तौर पे मास्टर आपकी पाकिस्तान से, उसके बाद पीएचडी इटली से, और उसके बाद फिर पोस्ट डॉक आपकी स्वीडन में, इस हवाले से कुछ बताएंगे आप इनसाइट्स?
तो मैंने बैचलर्स और मास्टर्स मैंने बैरियर यूनिवर्सिटी इस्लामाबाद से किया। उसके बाद आई वाज पार्ट ऑफ फैकल्टी इन बैरियर यूनिवर्सिटी एज वेल। तो बीइंग अ फैकल्टी member, it was very much needed that I had to do PhD for future growth and uh, for my career. तो उसके लिए I had few friends in Italy already doing PhD, so it was an easy way for me, I would say, because they were always there to guide me how to focus or like how to apply and where to apply. So there was a position in IIT that was a research institute in Italy in collaboration with UNICE. So I applied there, had an interview, like normal procedure from which everybody passes. So I went there in November 2018, and from November 2018 to 22 Feb, I was there in Italy, and from then I think from April 2022, I moved to Sweden. 22, yeah, 22. I moved to Sweden, and it's been almost 1.5 year I am here in Sweden. The transition was great. It is a wonderful experience coming from Pakistan, first to Italy doing my PhD, and then coming to Sweden. It's a totally different experience from Italy. So it's another great opportunity for me to be here, work with the Swedish people. I'm actually working in a hospital because I work mostly related to biomedical imaging. So I sit in a hospital, work with brain MRI right now. But my PhD was mostly focused with chest X-rays because it was a COVID period at that time. So we also wanted to contribute something towards COVID. So we did a project with chest X-rays. Before that, I was working with CT and MRI, but that was abdomen part, not the brain, which I am working right now. Transition was super good. It was a great learning experience for myself. I am super happy that I took this decision and went to Italy for my PhD, because if I have seen a lot of friends of mine doing PhD from Pakistan, it is way more difficult as compared to doing a PhD from Italy or like any other country other than Pakistan, because like Pakistan is bureaucratically more challenging. Like there are people always ready to pull your leg. You don't have to face those kinds of problem over here. So, but and in Pakistan, like usually people are working along with their PhD, so like it is extended up to 7 years in most of the cases. But like when you come here, you are getting paid for your for doing your PhD. So like the only focus you have is your PhD. So it's easier, and it is more productive as well. So in 3 years, I completed my PhD, which was much more productive as compared to some of my friends doing PhD from Pakistan, because like they had a lot of different kind of responsibilities. Like they were doing jobs, even they were working as well. Because they were working, they had a lot of responsibilities from their employers. Even if they were working in a university and they were doing the PhD from the same university, still it was totally difficult for them. In my case, it was easier because all of my environment around me, everybody was just pushing me to do my PhD. Like, because when I was sitting in the lab for my PhD, there were like around 15 PhD students in the same open space, and then there were like around 15 to 20 postdocs available in the lab. So like, if you have a problem, you can just go and discuss your problem with anybody. So it was not a difficult thing. Like, the environment was actually uh, everybody was like helping you in doing your PhD. So it was much more productive environment as compared to that I had in Pakistan. I don't undermine Pakistani environment. Like, my sister did her PhD in 3 years from Qaeda Azam University as well. But uh, when I see her struggling during her PhD days, I had much less struggle as compared to her. So it was easier.
वंडरफुल। अच्छा, इसके में उस्मान साहब थोड़ा-सा मुझे बताएँ कि जो यूनिक फीचर्स क्या हैं? स्वीडन का एकेडमिक का आपने भी देखा एनवायरनमेंट, इटली का भी देखा है। तो फोकस तो हम स्वीडन को कर रहे हैं, लेकिन आपका इटली का बैकग्राउंड है, तो मैं उससे भी हवाले से लर्न करना चाहूँगा कि भई स्वीडन एकेडमिक्स और रिसर्च इकोसिस्टम जो है, स्पेशली इंटरनेशनल रिसर्चर के हवाले से।
uh, there is a difference between Sweden and Italy as well. If I say, when I was doing my PhD, there was no shortage of resources. Because I work with deep learning, so I needed a GPU. So when I asked my supervisor, I need a GPU, like he gave me three. So it was and then like all those people working with machine learning and deep learning stuff in Pakistan, like I really admire those people because of the electricity problem and everything. So it's really difficult for them to run a model just to train. It's super difficult. But it was much easier here in Italy. There was no shortage of any kind of resources. But when I came to Sweden, like, you just multiply those resources, like maybe to 100. So now, right now, I have access to a supercluster where there are I think 740 GPUs. So I can access as many as I want if they are available, because like it's a shared cluster, so a lot of people are also using. But it's always available. Like, there are maybe around 100, more than 100 are always free, so I can use them instantly. Like, nobody is going to ask me if I am running for too long, or like whatever I am doing. uh, this one important thing, the difference between Italy and Sweden is the salary structure. Like, while doing I would say, like, just compare a PhD student in Sweden and in Italy. uh, in Italy, like, you get around, on average, like around 1100 to 1200 euros stipend every month. You just multiply it by two in Sweden. So it's a little bit expensive to live here in Sweden as well, but like, more expensive. But at the end of the day, you do all your expenses, and then even you save almost double as compared to what you were saving in Italy. And also, the people are different in Sweden. So like, Italians are kind of like, they are good, nice people. Like, I would always say they are nice people, but they have a little bit of Pakistani inside them. So they can be rude. My supervisor was the nicest person in the whole group, but like, I have seen other people with their supervisors were like quite harsh, and like, they were like too much pushing and everything. But like, in Sweden, they are like more politer than the Italian people. So they have like this common ethics thing. Like, they cannot uh, confront anybody out of the blue. Like, they don't do that. If even if they have a problem with somebody, they will like just roam around that problem and then talk about that problem, but they will not just go directly in your face. They will not talk about it. So like, they are more supportive in a way. But they are like, it has its own plus and negative things. But like, they are different people than from Italians.
गुड। अच्छा, इसके अंदर की स्कॉलरशिप के हवाले से अगर हम स्वीडन में बात करें तो इटली का भी साथ अगर थोड़ा-सा इनसाइट दे दें कि मास्टर और पीएचडी के स्कॉलरशिप और ख़ास तौर पे जो पोस्ट डॉक आपने स्वीडन में क्यों आए आप इटली से? कोई और कंट्री भी आपने अप्लाई किया या इस हवाले से कोई?
Uh, Scholarship. Okay. Uh, Scholarship is different in Italy and in Sweden. Italy के अंदर master's students, I am not sure like if they have to pay a fee or not. Like I don't remember. Like actually never had a discussion with anybody about this topic. But that I know this, that once you are there, uh, usually students apply for this scholarship, and like they get a stipend, a minimal stipend for masters, and in some cases the university accommodates them free of cost. Hostel वगैरह वो universities दे देती हैं. Uh, yeah, but in Sweden it's different. Like you have to apply for a scholarship before your admission. उसके अंदर, like a few years back, Swedish universities were totally free for everybody. But after that, they have changed. Now, the Swedish universities are totally free for European residents, but like non-Europeans have to pay a fee, and it is a lot, like around maybe around 10,000 euros or maybe more. I am not sure about the exact number, but like there is a fee. But there is, usually I have seen students over here, they pay one fee, like first year fee, they come here. And one good thing about Sweden is there is no limit to number of hours you can work in a week. For a student can actually work unlimited number of hours, based on the job, like if a student is able to get one. There's no restriction on that one. I think in Italy there is a number of hours restriction, just like Germany or like. But like in Sweden, you can actually work as much as you want, and you can actually. There, I have seen students uh, earning enough money to pay their second fee after coming here. So like they just pay first fee in that scenario when they are actually paying and they are not getting scholarship. But there are some scholarship seats for non-European residents as well, so they have to compete. Once you apply, you secure a position, and then you can come on that position. So in that position there are certain type of scholarships, like there is a fee waiver, there's a 50% fee waiver, and stuff like that. But for a PhD, it's totally different. Like the Swedish academic system is a little bit different than Italian one, because in Sweden, mostly PhDs are offered by professors. So like they have their own fundings. The university is not sponsoring a PhD student. Like in Italy, like university always sponsors a PhD student. There are some cases where industrial PhD is happening, but most of the cases, university sponsors the PhD student. But here in Sweden, the process is that first, if like somebody wants to supervise a PhD student, he or she will apply for some funding or a grant. So once they win that grant and they have enough amount, for the salary of that PhD student for 4 years, then they are allowed to induct a PhD student. So but unlike US, here they have to follow a complete procedure, where they have to first publish the post, and then there are interviews, and then like they usually call for the final interview physically to the campus, from wherever the world that they select anybody. Usually they do that. In some cases or some scenarios they do it online, but like in my department they invite everybody for the final call. So once they select, and then like a student comes to Sweden, and then they join, then like there are some unions, labor unions and student unions, and like a lot of other complicated stuff which support the student throughout the degree. One weird thing I came to know was that like it's actually a good thing in so many ways, that like in PhD the university cannot fire you. Like you will complete your 4 years. Like At the end of the 4 years, it depends if your performance was good and you have published enough work, then you will be granted a PhD. If not, there is this half PhD thing in Sweden. Like they give you this half PhD, which is like uh, a way of nicely saying no to your PhD. So there's this half PhD thing that they usually give that to some people. But like in most of the cases, I have never seen have that thing happening. But like that exists. So it's good. Like if I uh, go back in time and I take a decision again, if I will go to Italy or I will come to Sweden, I think I will choose Sweden because like they pay you really good as compared to Italy, and the resources are like there was no problem in Italy as well, but like in Sweden the resources are much more uh, like readily available as compared to Italy.
गुड। अच्छा, इसके अंदर जो लैंग्वेज का बैरियर है, ये तो दोनों कंट्रीज़ में आपको इस हवाले से आप क्या कंपैरिज़न करेंगे?
Usually, master students do face this language barrier because, like, some of the like Pakistan में बहुत सारे लोग गलती ये करते हैं, they don't go through the detailed roadmap of their master studies plan or like whatever it is. There are some courses that are in local language in Italian or in like in Swedish, so that's really difficult to clear because like you cannot be as fluent as like a native speaker in like 1 year or like 1.5 year. I have seen people coping up with really fast, but like it is a problem. Like most now, there is another thing. Uh, all those technical programs like computer sciences or like engineering programs, usually they are in English. It's not a problem for them. But like those people who come for management programs or like degrees after BBA or like stuff like that, they usually have in local language courses. So the engineering ke andar I have never seen a course that is in a local language. But students that are coming for masters because they have to do student jobs. So in student jobs, it is a very plus point if you know a local language, or if you have a learning a local language, it will be a very plus point because these students jobs usually involve public interaction. uh, but like if you are coming for PhD, then it's not a problem at all. Like your whole workplace will be English. Italians speak English in a weird way, but Swedish people speak English just like Americans do. They are really good in English speaking, and they don't hesitate. Or like it's the Swedish society is somehow similar to Pakistani society, where they are losing their own language because we have also converted so many Urdu words to English. तो स्वीडन के अंदर भी वो ऐसा ही हो रहा है कि दे आर लूजिंग देयर ओन वोकैबुलरी एंड दे आर रिप्लेसिंग इट विद इंग्लिश. So it's not a problem for a PhD either in Italy or in Sweden. It's the same. Not a problem at all because you don't have to work student job. Like you will be getting paid and you will be focused only on your own research. So it's super easy. It's not a problem. But like usually like when you are staying at a place for like more than like 3 years or 4 years, so usually you go out and you meet people who speak only the native language. So it's not difficult at all to learn Italian or Swedish. Both are languages are very easy to learn. So it's not a problem. I would not rate this as a problem. I never
तो
had
इस
a problem because of language. In Italy, like there is just I would like to mention, like if you are going to a post office or like you are going to some government building for any kind of bureaucratic work, which usually you have to go there, they don't speak English at all. So like then like you have to use some Google Translator over there. Other than that, there's no problem. But like when you come to Sweden, even in the government offices, they will speak English, fluent English with you. This will not be a problem at all.
तो इसमें सर्टिफ़िकेशन जिस तरह आइल्स है बाकी कंट्रीज़ के लिए, तो इधर भी कोई सर्टिफ़िकेशन की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, हमें पीएचडी के लिए आना है
नहीं,
या?
नहीं, नहीं, it's not required. I never gave IELTS.
ठीक, ठीक, ठीक। यानी आइल्स है तो इनकी अपनी लैंग्वेज का कोई इस तरह का टेस्ट नहीं है, इसका मतलब आइल्स के बगैर कोई आना चाहे तो फिर तो ये कंट्री सबसे बेस्ट है।
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल, IELTS is not a requirement here in Sweden and in Italy as well. It is not a
ठीक,
requirement.
ठीक,
Like
ठीक।
the worst case scenario, if somebody even asks you, तो आप अपना यूनिवर्सिटी से एक इंग्लिश प्रोफिशिएंसी सर्टिफिकेट बनवा के
हाँ,
आप
हाँ।
बोल सकते, दैट्स इट।
ठीक। तो इसमें प्रोसेस क्या है, मतलब जिस तरह पोस्ट डॉक के हवाले से, जिस तरह आप कह रहे हैं किसी ने आना हो, स्वीडन में आना हो या पीएचडी मास्टर के लिए, तो इस हवाले
Usually
से
they
थोड़ा।
usually postdoc के लिए तो they post everything on LinkedIn. Like 99% positions LinkedIn के ऊपर ही अनाउंस करते हैं. इसके अलावा they also announce the positions on their university website. उसके अलावा like you have to actually play a little bit smart here. If you are doing a PhD in a certain domain, so like during your PhD you will have enough time where you will be exploring a lot of people working in your domain. So you have to follow them on Twitter, you have to follow them on LinkedIn, so you have to be really active on social media. There are professors who will just post, like they will post on LinkedIn and they will also post on their Twitter or like any other social media they are using. So it's very common that like people in academia over here, they do use Twitter and they do use LinkedIn, so they post vacancies on both of these platforms, so you can find from any one of them. So like the tricky thing is you have to follow them, like you have to build connections with people who are involved in your domain. So like if you are, let's say if you're doing some literature review, just search the author's name and like try to follow them on Twitter or like on LinkedIn. So it's really helpful. But even if you are not doing that, like you can just go to jobs section in on LinkedIn, select the region, and then like you can find all the positions from there as well. Usually like for PhD, there's a timeline when they announce. Usually in Italy there is a fixed timeline. They usually start a PhD cycle in November every year. So the position are announced in early Feb or March. But like in Sweden it's not fixed because like it totally depends on the funding, so they can announce anytime. So you have to be active.
तो इसमें मास्टर और पीएचडी की ड्यूरेशन कितना है, और पोस्ट पीएचडी या पोस्ट मास्टर के बाद कितना टाइम वर्क वीज़ा या उस वाले से पीआरशिप के हवाले से भी थोड़ी।
uh, in Italy, you have to spend I think 5 years for PR. But like at the time of application of PR, you need to have an active work contract. Based on that, you can actually apply for PR. But like I have seen cases in which a friend of mine was doing postdoc in a university and he was denied because like they said you're not submitting a certain tax, because of that like we will not entertain you. So because he was working in the university, so the university employees don't pay that tax, so only people from industry pay that tax. But like he was in a region, and the same scenario, another friend of mine was he was in a different region and he was given the PR. So like in Italy it's region wise mostly, and it also depends on who is going to read your application. In Sweden I think it's like if you are coming here for a PhD, eventually you will get a PR by the end of your PhD, because like it's I think 4 years for PR, and usually PhD is 5 years in Sweden. 4 years if you are not teaching, but if you are teaching alongside your PhD, then they extend your contract to 5 years. So by the end of your PhD, you are eligible for PR, and I think after 6 months or 1 year, you are eligible for passport. That is happening right now, but I have heard that Swedish government is planning to change the laws. So like they will I think extend the number of years for passport, and like for PR I think they are not doing anything right now. But like it's all in the air right now, nobody can say what will happen. So you just consider maybe after 4 years or 5 years you will eventually get PR. It's pretty easy to get PR if you stay in one country for long. If like in my case I scrapped my years in Italy and I moved to Sweden. When I came to Sweden, my counter for PR started from zero again. So if I stay here, like complete my 4 years, I will get PR. But like if I move from Sweden to some other country, I will scrap my years in Sweden and Italy. So I will start my counter again from zero. So like you have to stay uninterrupted in one country to get PR.
तो इसमें आप सजेशन क्या देते हैं वैसे इटली और स्वीडन की पीआर के हवाले से? वैसे स्वीडन को तो टॉप 5 कंट्रीज़ में स्वीडन को माना जाता है। तो बाकी ये है कि इसमें ये जो मूवमेंट है आप कह रहे हैं कि देखिए 4 साल 5 साल इधर पूरे नहीं किए, उधर फिर स्वीडन, तो इस हवाले से आपकी सजेशन क्या है? आपका एक्सपोज़र क्या है इस हवाले से? क्या करना चाहिए?
I think like you need to want like usually we undermine one thing is okay, even after PhD we are running behind PR. So like once you have good academic record, good number of publications, in my opinion, you don't have to worry anything about PR. Like if you are able to find a good position in any other country, you just move. Like I will not consider PR. Like eventually I will get PR somewhere. Like because right now PhD is a contractual position, and even after that postdoc is also a contractual position. Like you will not stay a postdoc for your rest of your life, so it will be maybe 2 years or 4 years, or like in Italy like they can extend your postdoc up to 6 years, and after that they don't extend your contract. Like even if you are performing best performer of your lab, they will fire you, or like even either they have to promote you or like they have to fire you. So it depends. But like as in Sweden, like again, it all depends on the funding. So like if the project is extended, or like there are funds available for your salary, you can get your postdoc extended. But again, it's a contractual thing. So like in my opinion, if you get a permanent position, even after spending like 2 years in Sweden, if I will get a permanent position in any other European country, I will just move. Like the permanent position is much more psychologically comfortable as compared to a contractual position. So but like it would be really good if anybody can spend 4 or 5 years in one country and get PR, because like some countries gave you a 10-year residence permit. In some cases they give you a 5-year residence permit. So like it depends where you apply and how you apply. But it's always good to have a PR. I will not discourage that, but like it is important. It's one important factor. You have to think about your career and your PR thing. So like you have to uh, fly in between.
जी। अच्छा, इसके अंदर जो टीचिंग आप कह रहे थे पीएचडी में मिल जाती है स्वीडन में, तो ईज़ी है उसमें जो 4 से 5 आवर्स, या वो ऑप्शनल होती है, या इसमें हवाले से
Uh,
एक्स्ट्रा पे करते हैं, उस हवाले से भी थोड़ा बता दीजिए?
I don't think so they pay you extra. मैंने पिछले सेमेस्टर में मैंने पढ़ाया था, अभी तक तो मुझे कुछ एक्स्ट्रा नहीं मिला।
उसकी
लेकिन
सर्टिफ़िकेशन भी होती है, अगर एक्स्ट्रा पे ना करें तो पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन सर्टिफ़िकेशन कोई होती है, उसका भी कोई इम्पोर्टेंस है? अगर वो मिल जाए, वो भी काफ़ी इधर यूके में तो महँगी
ए,
होती है वैसे, 10,000 पाउंड की होती है, अगर वो टीचिंग करें तो वो फ्री में मिल जाती है आपको।
अच्छा नहीं, मुझे उसका आइडिया नहीं है। मे बी देयर इज़ समथिंग बट आई हैव नो आइडिया। उसमें टीचिंग का यहाँ पे ये है कि बेसिकली योर पीएचडी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज़ 4 इयर्स। They will so like it's fixed. So you have to complete your PhD in 4 years. But if you are teaching like maybe one course or like two courses a semester, so they will extend your 4 years to 5 years. So that's one plus point. Plus, teaching is not as hectic as it is in Pakistan. Like usually, you will teach like one course, or like you will supervise master students in your PhD. That's very common. But like you don't have to spend more than 20% of your time in a week. So it's usually like one course or like or two courses. Like usually they what they do is they share the load with their professors. Like the professor is going to teach the course. Then like Sweden के अंदर there are three things. There's a lecture, there's a class, and then there's a lab. So what they do is the lecture will be taken by the professor, and then the class and the lab will be taken by a PhD student. So class में क्या होता है कि they explain, or like they discuss all the theoretical stuff that was going to happen in the lab, and then in the lab they will do it practically. So there are three things in Sweden, as I have seen in my department. I don't know, like it may be different in some other university. Uh, it's not that hectic. It's super easy. It's not that difficult. But I am not sure if they pay extra. But I think they don't pay extra because they extend 1 year for you for your PhD. And about certification, I am not sure if it is something here or not.
ठीक। अच्छा, इसके अंदर एक चीज़ और भी है, जैसे फेलोशिप होती है, जो HEA हायर एजुकेशन एकेडमी फेलोशिप है ना, उसमें ये टीचिंग काफ़ी रोल प्ले करती है, यूके में तो है इस तरह। अच्छा, इसमें जॉब्स के हवाले से क्या बताते हैं, यानी क्या सिनेरियो है स्वीडन में, और थोड़ा-सा आप इस हवाले से थोड़ा-सा एक्सप्लोर करें, और ये मुझे बताएँ कि ये स्टार्टअप्स और इनोवेशन के हवाले से भी स्वीडन तो काफ़ी फेमस है। स्पॉटिफ़ाई या रिक्सन जो कंपनीज़ हैं। तो आप रिसर्चर्स को क्या देखते हैं कि इंटीग्रेशन उनके टेक इंडस्ट्री के साथ, या इस वाले से कोई है इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स का?
Yeah, but it's super easy to start your own startup here in Sweden. It's not difficult at all. But like you have to find some base funding for that. इसके अलावा the industry is really good here. It's thriving. So there are a lot of opportunities in the industry. So it's super easy for people working in IT, engineering, and other stuff to get a job in Sweden because the industry is really good. It's really good, and like even if you don't know the Swedish language, it's totally okay. It's not a barrier over here in Sweden. In Italy, it is a barrier. Like getting into industry, you need to know Italian language. So it is a little bit difficult. I'm not saying it is almost not possible. It is possible. I have seen people securing jobs in companies after masters in Italy as well, but it's difficult as compared to Sweden. So in Sweden, like it's easier to get a job because the industrial positions are a lot. Like if you open LinkedIn, you type your keyword and select the region Sweden, you will find more than hundreds of opportunities here in Sweden.
तो इसमें कोई स्पेसिफिक साइट्स भी हैं, जिस तरह अगर अप्लाई करना हो स्वीडन में पीएचडी के लिए या पोस्ट डॉक, तो इसमें कुछ स्पेसिफिक
Uh,
साइट्स को करें, या आप एडवाइस क्या देते हैं, और इसका पूरा प्रोसेस आप किस प्रोसेस को फॉलो किया, और उसमें वीज़ा और सारा जो आपकी पूरी स्टोरी है, उसको थोड़ा-सा अगर समराइज़ कर दें ताकि लोगों को।
I think LinkedIn is the most common website where everybody post positions. I found my position from LinkedIn. I applied for it. They conducted a interview. Well, it was quite extensive, 1 hour interview. So they judge you in every way. Like there was a psychologist sitting in my interview. There was a technical person. There was an administrator. Like there were like around 6 or 7 people sitting in the panel where I appeared for the interview, and then they finalized like I don't know, I think there were uh, 8 or 9 candidates that applied for this position when I applied. So they finalized, and then they usually what they do is they call the two top candidates physically to the campus. They show you around, so like they invite you, they pay for everything for the whole trip. They invite you, you stay there for 2 days. I stayed, I think, 2 days, and then like the first day they showed me everything, the whole campus. They made me meet people in the department, and the second day I gave a presentation. It was kind of like a short talk to everybody about one of my papers, and then there was a discussion panel after that, and then like that was it. So like after going back, I think after 2 weeks they approached me and they offered me the position. So for me it was super easy moving to Sweden from Italy because I was already in Europe. So I it was super easy for me to travel from Italy to Sweden for my interview as well. So I just had to book a flight. But if I was coming from Pakistan, it would have been a little bit difficult as compared to what I had to face. But it's not like impossible. Like I have a friend who came who did his PhD from China, went to Pakistan, and then like he applied for a postdoc position in Sweden, and then he came for directly for yeah, to start his position. So his university actually did everything online, the whole meeting thing and everything. So in my case, I applied my visa from Rome. Like it was super easy because I had to do it online. I didn't go to the Rome Swedish embassy. So I was waiting for my visa, and like it took a month, and then I waited for a month, and then like I said, I told the migration office that okay, I am going to Pakistan. I don't have anything to do here in Italy. When you have a decision, let me know. So they said, okay, no problem. Like they were the nicest people at that time. Like it was super smooth experience. I went to Pakistan, and after 2 weeks I received this email that your decision has been granted, and like now you can go to the embassy to give your fingerprints and picture and passport verification. In Italy, like it's opposite. Like you when you land in Italy, after that you book an appointment to give your fingerprint and picture and passport verification. Like they do the passport verification before as well, like, but like you have to do it again after visiting a police station in Italy. But in Sweden they did that in Pakistan. So like I wrote an email to the Swedish embassy in Islamabad that I want to appear for fingerprint and everything. So I sent that email on Monday, and on Thursday they called me. It took me just 15 minutes. And then after 10 days my residence permit was there, and they gave me the residence permit of directly for 2 years. In Italy they renew it every year. They don't give when you are a PhD, they don't give you long-term residence permit, so it's 1 year residence permit. But in Sweden they give you actually a long-term residence permit for a PhD student as well. So it was super smooth. But like right now the scenario with Pakistan Swedish embassy is they have closed people visitors. So the embassy is still open, but the visa section is closed for, I think it's more than 8 months now in Pakistan. And our government, unfortunately, they're doing nothing, or like they are not. They're not helping at all. So the Swedish migration office came up with a solution that they have asked people to go to Ethiopia, uh, and the Swedish embassy in Ethiopia is actually entertaining people from Pakistan right now. So like if you have to get a Swedish visa, you have to go from Pakistan. From Pakistan, so first you have to go from Pakistan to Ethiopia, give your fingerprint, passport verification, and picture in the Swedish embassy Ethiopia, and then either you wait there for like 10-15 days and get the residence permit, or like you come back and you request them to send it by post. So then you can actually visit Sweden right now. So right now the scenario is a little bit difficult, but it's doable. uh, they have a solution to that.
ये आपने जो मैं समझा हूँ इटली से आप अप्लाई किया, उसके बाद फिर फिंगरप्रिंट के लिए आप फिर पासपोर्ट इधर आप नहीं दे गए, यानी पासपोर्ट फिर आपने उधर पाकिस्तान में उधर ही
ना,
एम्बेसी से।
इट वाज ऑनलाइन प्रोसेस। आई मैं पासपोर्ट
ठीक।
उन्होंने मेरे से कभी भी नहीं रखा। इस्लामाबाद के अंदर व्हेन आई वेंट देयर, आई जस्ट गिव देम पासपोर्ट फॉर 5 मिनट्स, दे रिटर्न माय पासपोर्ट राइट अवे।
ये वीज़ा पासपोर्ट पे वो अपने वो नहीं लगाते, यानी
नहीं,
इसका मतलब वो
नहीं,
अलग
नहीं,
से।
वो
ठीक है।
कार्ड आता है, वो जो रेजिडेंस परमिट
जी, 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 ठीक है।
बोलते हैं, कार्ड आता है।
तो ये एथियोपिया में अगर कोई जाता है तो वो वहाँ फिर उधर उसके अलग से वीज़ा चाहिए होगा, या किस तरह, मतलब ये एम्बेसी को
आई थिंक
उधर?
उसका आई हैव नॉट मेट एनीबॉडी डायरेक्टली हू वेंट देयर। आई थिंक उसका ऑनलाइन प्रोसेस है, ऑनलाइन ई वीज़ा है इथियोपिया का।
ठीक है, ठीक। अच्छा, इसमें स्पेसिफिक इंस्टीट्यूशन या रीजन्स आप इसमें पर्टिकुलर रिसर्च फील्ड के हवाले से अगर स्वीडन में बताना चाहें तो?
Uh, like I don't know like how to answer this question. Uh, it depends. Like if you are doing masters and you come to a big city like Stockholm, or like you Malmo, or like Gothenburg. So being a master student, so you need to find student jobs. So there are more opportunities. Obviously big cities have more opportunities, but even Linköping is one of a good cities to do your masters. But like if you are doing PhD, like it totally depends on the position, and if the position is good enough, even if you have to go up in the north in a small town, it's totally okay. I don't mind. I don't think there's a problem in that, because like uh, they have a lot of funds here. But like if you have to go to a conference, they will send you to a conference. They will pay for everything, so they don't hesitate in spending money on you. So even if you are in a small town doing your PhD, it's totally okay. Because if you want to go to a conference, or like you want to go to a summer school or a workshop, they will fund you. They don't hesitate spending anything on you, so it's totally fine for them. This is as far as I understood the Swedish culture. They don't think about money when it comes to opportunities, so they will do whatever it takes.
तो पोस्ट डॉक के हवाले से आपकी क्या लाइफ है? कैसे फर्ज को रिपोर्ट कैसे करते हैं, और इसका वीकली होती है रिपोर्ट, या इसको आप वर्क इन्वायरमेंट कैसा है वैसे पोस्ट डॉक?
In my case, I am supervising a PhD student, uh, and I have master students for thesis. इसके अलावा I was teaching a course. I taught that course in the semester before that one, and I will be teaching the same course again. That will be starting in November. मैंने पिछले नवंबर में भी वही कोर्स पढ़ाया था, तो अभी आई विल बी डूइंग द सेम कोर्स अगेन इन दिस नवंबर। इसके अलावा सो आई एम एक्चुअली वर्किंग ऑन अ यूरोपियन प्रोजेक्ट। सो इट वी हैव collaborators from Netherlands, Belgium, and Turkey as well. So we have these consortium meetings after every 4 months. So like we go there, we decide what we will be doing, and then we divide tasks, and then we come back, and then we work for 4 months, and then we go back to that meeting, and then we discuss whatever will be happening. So I am quite. I would say that I have my professor is super nice, so he gives me a lot of space to explore around and do work independently, and he has been very supportive. I'm super happy with him, and like our offices are next to each other, so we usually talking to each other like more than once in a day. So if I face a problem, I just like go and knock at his door, and yes, the same is the case for him as well. Like usually he comes to my office, we have journal discussions, we go to lunch together every day. So it's a very friendly environment here in Sweden, I would say, and it's I have seen with everybody. So it is they are very friendly people. So they usually, I have seen uh, supervisors going to lunch with their students. It's very common here in Sweden. It's not common. It's not very common in Italy, but it's very common here in Sweden. It's They are very friendly people.
अच्छा, इसके अंदर दैट्स वंडरफुल। और इसके में कुछ चैलेंजेस अगर आप बताएं कि भाई आपने पोस्ट डॉक जर्नी के हवाले से स्वीडन में क्या चैलेंजेस आए, और इसमें अगर इटली को भी इंक्लूड कर लें, उसमें कहाँ कहाँ चैलेंजेस आए थे और उसको आपने ओवरकम कैसे किए?
It's a difficult question to answer because challenges definition is different for everybody. So like maybe there something
बस
is a
उसको
challenge for
उस
me, but
कंटेक्स्ट,
like
जी जी, उस कंटेक्स्ट के हवाले से बता देंगे जो स्टूडेंट्स आना चाह रहे हैं मास्टर पीएचडी या पोस्ट डॉक के लिए, तो वो जो कुछ भी उसको उस कंटेक्स्ट में स्टडी के हवाले से अगर आना चाहें, और फैमिली को भी इसको में इंक्लूड कर लें। अगर इटली में तो मैंने सुना है कि साल लग जाता है फैमिली का, जिस तरह
नहीं
चैलेंज
जी,
है वो।
अब तो साल भी नहीं लगता वो, आप ना ही समझे।
अच्छा, हाँ, नहीं है, यानी मतलब ये सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है कि फैमिली को आप नहीं ला सकते
हाँ,
इटली में।
हाँ, फैमिली का इटली में इट्स अ वेरी बिग चैलेंज। आपकी फैमिली रियूनियन जो है, इट्स इट्स सुपर डिफिकल्ट। उसमें द ब्यूरोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस इज सुपर स्लो, एंड लाइक दे डोंट इवन वांट टू क्विकन थिंग्स अप। तो उसमें बहुत प्रॉब्लम है। तो आई हैव सीन पीपल हु एक्चुअली feel a lot of problem because of this. इसके अलावा one thing that I feel is because when we come from Pakistan, तो हम different mindset के साथ आते हैं। So we are always afraid, और लाइक हम थोड़े से डरे हुए एटीट्यूड के साथ हम अपनी लैब में जाते हैं, बट लाइक दैट्स नॉट रिक्वायर्ड एट ऑल। if you have a problem with something, you have to speak openly, like but because हम थोड़े different mindset के साथ आते हैं, तो हम usually अगर कोई लैब के अंदर हमें किसी चीज़ से प्रॉब्लम है या कोई टॉपिक समझ नहीं आ रहा, या if we are facing difficulty in doing a task, uh, because we are afraid from inside, we usually don't speak about that. But I think it's super important to speak about, if you are facing a difficulty, a problem, or anything, you have to speak. Somebody is going to come and help you. Nobody will know if you are facing a problem if you will not tell them. So this is a very common problem with people coming from Pakistan, and it's I think it's not a fault of an individual, because like it's how we are, like the way we are brought up in Pakistan. Like we usually are afraid from our teachers, and like we usually don't say a problem, and like so it's a common thing that like usually I have seen people change. Now if I have a problem, I just go to my supervisor's office and say, okay, this is a problem, I don't know what to do. and then we sit together and we do some brainstorming, and then we come up with a solution. But like in the beginning of my PhD, I was a little bit shy, I would say. I was not discussing my problems with my supervisor, but like I was lucky that to have a really good supervisor in my PhD. So like one day he was like, I was stuck in a problem, and he used to come at my table, discuss the problem, and laugh at me and just go away. So it happened for 1 week, and then like I asked him, and he said, "I was waiting for you to ask me." So the problem was not that big; it was a small thing, but like he made me learn that I have to ask if there is a problem. I have to talk about it. So it was important. So that made me learn that like if I am stuck in a problem, I would try to get out of that problem for a day or two. But if I think I cannot, then I have to go and talk to somebody. So it is important. I would suggest everybody, when you are here, talk to people, talk to your colleagues, talk to your supervisor with an open positive mind, and I think it would be super easy for you.
गुड। अच्छा, इसमें स्वीडन ख़ास तौर पे सस्टेनेबिलिटी इनिशिएटिव के हवाले से काफ़ी जाना जाता है। तो आप क्या समझते हैं कि ये एकेडमिक रिसर्च और अपॉर्चुनिटी जो है इस कंट्री में, इस सस्टेनेबिलिटी के हवाले से कुछ आप फील्ड्स को रिकमेंड करना चाहेंगे कि भई इस फील्ड इस सस्टेनेबिलिटी इसको फ़ोकस करें, या हर फील्ड में ही अब ये चीज़ पेनिट्रेट हो गई है, और कुछ एडवाइस इस हवाले से करना चाहेंगे आप?
uh, I think it would be difficult for me to suggest anything out of my own domain,
हुँ,
because I have, like, honestly, I don't have any knowledge about that. But it's true, Sweden is trying its best to go and find sustainable solutions. Like even if you go out on the roads, like every fifth or sixth car, you will see an electric car. So they are doing everything in their power to go sustainable as soon as possible. So I think they have this vision until 2030 they will transform Sweden. I don't know what, there are a lot of details to that, but I think uh, if you find positions in Sweden, like if you go to the LinkedIn and you just type some keywords with your own research area, you will find opportunities here. So like because they do want to invest in research, and like there are some private bodies, like there's a one of the richest family of Sweden, so they have their own scholarship. So they every year they open a scholarship, so professors actually apply for that scholarship, and then if they win the scholarship, and then they can get hire a PhD student or a postdoc as well. So and then there is some Swedish government scholarships, then there is another institute, privately funded institute, they have their own scholarships. So there are a lot of scholarships in Sweden, but like it depends on who actually is going to win that scholarship. So it can be from a medical imaging domain, or it can be from networks domain, or it can be from electronics domain, or like anything else. So it totally depends who is going to win that scholarship, and then based on that, positions will be announced. But there are a lot of positions in almost every sector. Like if you have heard, Saab is from Sweden. So Saab is like aircraft manufacturing facility. So they do. I have a friend who's doing a PhD in information security with Saab. Then there are, I know a guy who is working with sustainable products with Saab. So it's not not only offer positions specifically to the domain, but they also offer positions on a wider scale. So you can find almost every kind of position here, but like usually you will be able to find more positions related to engineering or like IT sector as compared to literature or stuff like that.
ठीक है, ये साहब यही मेरे ख़्याल यही इसका स्पेलिंग यही है जो शेयर कर दी मैंने इसमें?
I'm not sure.
हाँ, अच्छा, इसके अंदर एक चीज़ और भी, कि इसमें यूनिक बेनिफिट्स क्या हैं पोस्ट डॉक जो आप स्वीडन में कर रहे हैं कंपेयर टू अदर यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़, आप क्या समझते हैं इस हवाले से?
Uh, the first benefit is like I can compare right now with Italy. I cannot compare
जी।
with any other European country. So wait a minute, I lost you somewhere. Your salary is far better as compared to Italy. Then you have like if you stay in Sweden, you have a pension fund. So my department is contributing towards the pension fund on my behalf. So like if I eventually decide to stay here in Sweden until my age turns 60, so I will start getting pension from the Swedish government. So after that, health is free. By health, I mean like in the health insurance is free. I don't have to pay anything extra for my health insurance. In Italy, usually it is free in most scenarios. But like if you work for a really small company, then you have to contribute a little bit from your own salary. But it's not that much as compared to Germany. Uh, After that, it's resources are much readily available as compared to Italy, I would say, and people are nice. But then there is a dark side to Sweden as well. Like I would also like to point that out. So in winters, extreme winters, the temperature in my city can go up to -20. I don't mind that at all because like it's super comfortable when you are living here because of the facilities over here. So it's super easy. Like people usually are afraid because of the weather, but like it's not that difficult to be here. You just need to have the right equipment to survive that winter. And then like the temperature is not a problem. Usually people don't complain about that, but people do complain about the light. So in extreme winter, I remember like the sunrise was around 8:35 a.m. and or like it went actually up to 8:40 a.m. Sunrise, and sunset was around 2:20 p.m. So it was a very short day, and then like you don't see sun for like maybe 2 3 months because it's always cloudy and foggy and stuff, something like that. uh, but like in summer it's totally opposite. Like it's not warm. Like usually like it goes up to there's a 1 week of hot weather that can go up to around 30 in Linköping where I am situated, but usually it is around 20 25 in between that in summers. But the problem is sunrise is around 2:30 a.m. and sunset is around uh, 11 11 p.m. So usually like the night is, and then it's not dark even the whole night that the sun is not out there. It's still like वो जो फजर के टाइम का वक्त होता है ना, a little bit light, it stays like that. So you don't see total darkness for like maybe 2 3 months. So in winters you don't see the sun for 2 3 months. In summers you don't see the darkness for 2 3 months. Uh, so it is a problem for some people. People don't psychologically it's a little bit difficult for some people to digest. But I was comfortable. मुझे problem नहीं हुआ.
तो इसमें पोस्ट डॉक के दौरान जो इंडस्ट्री से अगर आपने फंडिंग लेनी है, फंडिंग तो वैसे आप वैसे ही काम कर रहे होते हैं, लेकिन पोस्ट डॉक के बाद भी अगर आप देखते हैं इंडस्ट्री के साथ कोलैबोरेशन या पार्टनरशिप हो तो उसका क्या कोई टिप्स इस हवाले से आप देंगे या क्या इसका कोई तरीक़ाकार होता
Uh, right now I have industrial collaboration with 4 companies from Sweden, but like it they were part of that European project from day one. So I was not out there finding for industrial collaborations. So they were there when I joined. They also joined at the same time with me. So, but like usually companies in Sweden, they are very much. What I have seen is they are very much open to collaborate with people, but they're not ready to spend money. Like they will not fund you or like they will not give you resources. So you have to either find your own resources, like because right now my project, like my professor actually applied for this European funding, so he won that funding. But there was a requirement for that funding that he needs to have industrial collaboration with at least there was a limit, I think 4 companies at that time. So he went to those 4 companies, requested them that okay, we want to collaborate with you for this particular project. They agreed, and now my supervisor is paying them every month for this project. So they are not doing free work. So they may be not getting what they usually get from industrial projects. It's for them it's just pennies in, as compared to those projects, but they don't do anything for free, so like they will get money from you. So it's a complicated system in Sweden.
तो इसमें जॉब्स के हवाले से यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर आगे पोस्ट डॉक के बाद क्या है, पोस्ट डॉक के बाद टीचिंग की जॉब्स नॉर्मली क्या ट्रेंड है, या इंडस्ट्री भी इसको जो पोस्ट डॉक का एक्सपीरियंस है इसको इंडस्ट्री कैसे देखती है, किस पर्सपेक्टिव से देखती है, और इंडस्ट्री में भी क्या सिक्योर होती है, जॉब्स के हवाले से क्या ट्रेंड है या सैचुरेशन हो चुकी है?
uh, to get into academia, it's a little bit based on your luck, because like if you have to apply for a position, there is this funding where you apply being a postdoc, and if you win that funding, you will be inducted into faculty for 5 years. They will be paying your salary, but like honestly, my opinion, the Swedish academic system, it's a little bit complicated, and I personally I don't like it, because even my professor is actually contributing a small portion to his salary from grant application, grant money. So he has to continuously write grant applications, and he is in a struggle to find more money so that eventually he can complete his own salary in a way. So there is a base salary that is covered from the university, and then there is this salary which he has to cover from the grant money. And if he is unable to do that, like he has to go and to maybe some other department and teach extra courses to fulfill his salary requirements. So it's quite complicated. I am personally I'm not happy with this type of
Yes, yes.
scenario, because like if you don't have this job security, or like you don't have like in Italy, like it was the professors salaries were fixed from the university, and they were given PhD students from the university, like maybe one PhD student or like two PhD students were by default given by the university to the professors, and then they were finding more grant money from the industry, and then they were hiring more PhD students on those industrial projects. So that model was much more comfortable being a faculty member. But like in Sweden, like if I am working as an associate professor or an assistant professor, and then even for my own salary I have to continuously look out for grants. So psychologically it's a little bit depressive, so I don't like this way of how they are proceeding. And all the people I talk to in my department, nobody's happy with this process, but like this is how it is. So in my scenario, like my next goal would be to maybe I think I will move to industry as compared to academia. So in industry it's much less stressful as compared to academia, because like from far it looks beautiful, but when you actually go into this you put your feet in the shoe, and then you know that like okay, I have to find grant application, I have to write grant applications every year, and like writing a grant application almost takes the same amount of time that you can actually work on a paper and publish it. So in my like if I see, or like if I in long term, publishing a paper is much more positive as compared to writing a grant application and then getting rejected. And the worst part is they write grant applications, and then they just receive news yes or no. There are no reviews for those applications. So it's I don't know like how they are doing it, but they are just doing it the way, yeah, this way.
इसमें ये थोड़ा क्लैरिफाई कर दें, यानी पोस्ट डॉक जिसको मिल जाता है वो भी ग्रांट ये एप्लीकेशन लिखता है, और कितनी उसे लिखनी होती है अपने उस टेलर में, या वो सिर्फ
No,
स्पेसिफिक प्रोजेक्ट पे काम?
no. I am only working on my project. I don't
यस।
have to worry anything about my salary, because my salary was already taken out from that grant application that my professor wrote before I joined. And uh, even as a postdoc, I am not like enforced to write a grant application. But like if I write one, that is my own goodwill. But Even being a postdoc, so like these grant applications, usually all these bodies who actually give you this money, they have certain requirements. So I'm not still eligible for most of them. So I think I am just eligible for one or two of them. So maybe I will write one soon, but like I have not yet written anything.
गुड। अच्छा, इसमें पब्लिकेशन क्राइटेरिया भी आपने बीच में मेंशन किया था कि पब्लिकेशन क्राइटेरिया इसका क्या पीएचडी का मास्टर का क्या है वैसे? और पोस्ट डॉक में भी क्या क्राइटेरिया है इसमें या
मास्टर्स में तो पब्लिकेशन इज नॉट अ रिक्वायरमेंट हियर। आई हैव नॉट सीन। इसके अलावा पोस्ट पीएचडी के अंदर इटली के अंदर लाइक I don't know the exact number of papers they require, but like it's always good to have as many as you can. स्वीडन के अच्छा इटली के अंदर they are more focused towards conference papers. So like they will ask you to write a paper for CVPR, MICAI, or uh, uh, any other reputable conference. But in Sweden, they are more focused toward journal papers. So this is the difference between in Italy and Sweden. So Swedish system is more better if you plan to go back to Pakistan after doing your PhD. So you will have journal publications because Pakistan ke andar journal publications are more important, considered more important as compared to conference publications. But in my opinion, it's the same. Like if you publish a paper in CVPR or like you write a journal paper with 4 or 5 impact factors, so the effort is almost the same. So, but like it depends where you are. So in Italy, they focus on more on conference papers as compared to journal papers.
जी, ठीक। अच्छा, इसमें एक चीज़, इंटरव्यू जो आपने पोस्ट डॉक के वाले से जो इंटरव्यू दिया उसमें कुछ टिप्स दे दें अगर कोई पोस्ट डॉक के लिए आना चाहे, तो वो टिप्स थोड़े से कि ये एरियाज़ आप करेंगे इन जनरल सा टिप, स्पेसिफिक नॉट स्पेसिफिक टू योर फील्ड।
Like what I did was I made a presentation that I also used for my final defense as well. So I just added a few more things. So you just introduce yourself, then you talk a little bit about your master's thesis, maybe one slide or maximum two, not more than that, and then you come directly to the point what you have done in your PhD. It's not uh, it's always good to have good number of publications, but usually they are more focused about what you have learned or like what you can do actually. So it is important to show your skills in that presentation, that like okay, I can work with deep models, I can work with machine learning, I have worked with GANs, I have worked with segmentation models, classification, multimodal data, stuff like that. So like you have to use as much as keywords as you can, and then like you have to be very much confident about what you are talking. Uh, then they will usually like what people do is they just make slides from their publications. So like you just present your paper in 1 or 2 slides and then you move on, and then like you take your next publication and next. So usually the interview lasts for like 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes is on average. But like they will inform you before in an email before, like if the interview will be of you can make a presentation of like maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then there are 10 minutes discussion time and stuff like. So they will usually like people inform what they will be doing in that presentation or like in that interview. So it's not about like they might not be asking you technical questions. Like nobody ever asked me any technical questions. So uh, I always was presenting what I have done during my PhD. And it's important that you show your confidence. And another important thing is you have to let them know that you have a very high curve of adaptability and learning curve. So like you, if even if you don't know anything, you can learn. And if even if it is something really out of the box, you can just adapt yourself super easy. So it's not it's not that difficult. Just apply on every position that you find, even if it is 50% aligned with your work, just apply there. And worst case scenario, you will have a practice interview. So if even if they don't select you, you will have a practice interview somewhere. So it's good.
अच्छा, इसमें जो स्किल्स के हवाले से या सर्टिफिकेशन के हवाले से जो पाकिस्तान से आना चाहें मास्टर पीएचडी के लिए या पोस्ट, आप क्या समझते हैं कि उसमें ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस भी वैसे उसके हवाले से क्या कहते हैं कि वो इंटरनेशनल ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस या और कुछ इस तरह की चीज़ें जो आप समझते हैं कि भाई आने से पहले आप उसको
Uh,
मेंटली।
International driving license is not a requirement. Like it's not needed much. Even if you have a local driving license, like in Sweden, you can drive on your local driving license for 1 year when you come to Sweden. And if you have, like in my case, I have a 2 year postdoc contract. So I wrote an application to the traffic office that I have a limited contract to give me permission to drive for 2 years. So they gave me a letter on the base of which I can drive in Sweden for 2 years. So in Italy, I never actually drove a car. The public transport is extremely good. You even now, I don't own a car in Sweden. There's no requirement for that. Like it's not like I cannot afford. They pay you really good salary. In like 2 months, you can actually buy a good car here in Sweden. Even if you don't have the money, you can once you're so when you come to Sweden, like it may take few months to get your personal number. So like it's the tax number. So it's a little bit slow process. But once you have that number, you can actually go to any showroom or and ask them, I need a car. So they will give you a car. And then will ask you to give monthly installments. So they will. It's just like maybe 30 minutes process. You can get a car. It's not difficult. Even if you in Sweden, if you want to buy an apartment, you can do that. So once you have that personal number, and uh, in Finland, they actually convert your Pakistani driving license to Finnish driving license. They do that in Netherlands as well, but in Sweden and in Italy, they don't convert your license. They allow you to drive for 1 year, and after that, they ask you to get the local driving license.
अच्छा, इसमें एक चीज़ ये जो शेंजन वीज़ा है इस हवाले से आप क्या समझते हैं कि ये स्वीडन के वीज़े पे जा सकते हैं आगे पीछे कंट्रीज में?
Uh, uh, Almost if even if you have Italian visa, Swedish visa, German visa, French, Netherlands, Belgium, uh, whatever visa you have, it's a Schengen visa. So like in Schengen visa, you basically Europe whole is borderless. So like once you come from Pakistan to let's say I came from Pakistan to Stockholm last week. I was in Pakistan for the last 2 months. So they put an entry stamp on my passport. Once so I usually I travel a lot, by the way. So I last month, like around 6 months ago, I went to Germany. I need to carry my passport, but nobody will check my passport on the border. So I took a train from Sweden to Germany. So nobody they only came on the way back. They came to the train, the migration immigration officers, and they asked just to show my ID. So I just showed them my Swedish ID, and they didn't ask for my passport. But it's like whenever you travel inside Europe from one country to another, even if they don't ask, you need to carry your passport along with you, because like I do have. So there are two things here. Like one is your residence permit. In Italy, they call it permesso di soggiorno, and then you have ID card. In Italy, they call it carta di identità, and like so usually people make this mistake. They once they have this that ID card, like you get that in Sweden as well. Usually people make this mistake is like they think like once you have an ID card, okay, now I can travel in the whole Europe just like other Europeans. But we are not nationals, so like until that we need to carry our passport. Like they don't stop you, but like you need to have your passport. It happened with a friend of mine. Like I was in Genoa at back then. So he took a 2 hours train to Milan, to take a flight from Milan to Amsterdam. So he went there, and then the lady asked, "Okay, ID," and he gave her his Italian ID. And he was like, "Okay, but you are national. No, you're not national. Give me your passport." So his flight was canceled. He came back to Genoa. So after that, they might not ask you, but like you have to keep your passport with you, and you can travel in whole Europe. Nobody is going to ask. You don't need a visa, and it's totally free. You can take a bus, train, by air. By air is always cheaper, by the way. uh, and you can, or even a ferry, you can travel from one country to another. Nobody's going to ask you anything.
अच्छा, आखिरी क्वेश्चन से पहले जो कि एडवाइस है मास्टर पीएचडी पोस्ट डॉक स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जो आना चाह रहे हैं स्वीडन, आपका ट्रैवलिंग का मैंने देखा है काफ़ी शौक है, आपने अभी मेंशन भी कर दिया, थोड़ा सा इंसाइट दे दें कि कहाँ-कहाँ आप अभी और क्या फ्यूचर इनसाइट क्या है?
But I have traveled a lot actually. I came to Italy. From Italy, I went to Germany, my first trip, and then from there I took a road trip to Belgium and Netherlands. Then I went to, uh, then I went, like I have been to Germany many times. So I have some cousins of mine there as well. So like I have been to almost all the big cities in Germany. I've been to Austria, Czech Republic, Finland. I live in Sweden now. France. I have been to Malta. I've been to, what other country? I've been to, like, obviously when you are taking flights back to Pakistan, you can take layover in between anywhere, and so I have traveled a lot.
इसमें क्या एक्सपोज़र क्या
I've
रहा
been to
आपका?
I've been to UK as
ये
well. Like I
अच्छा, अच्छा, तो ये आप जो आप सारा आपने किया इसमें कोई वीज़ा नहीं, सिर्फ़ पासपोर्ट था जो आपका एक्सपीरियंस है, जो आपने देखा और इसमें
no visa
कंट्रीज़ में
except
आपको कोई
UK. It was visa free. Like for UK, I had to apply a visa.
जी, जी, हाँ, यूके के लिए तो करना पड़ेगा। तो यानी स्वीडन के उस पे आप गए हैं सारे हर जगह और जस्ट आपने पासपोर्ट दिखाया है, इसमें कोई इश्यू नहीं हुआ है, ये जो कंट्रीज़ आपने मेंशन की।
Actually, nobody will ask you anything at the border. Like
यस,
it's
यस।
like it's just like going from Islamabad to Lahore.
ये बाय
It's
एयर आप या बाय बस
I
जाते हैं
have
या क्या किस
I
तरह?
have traveled by bus as well, by air as well. So like if I will be taking a flight from Stockholm to, let's say, Frankfurt in Germany, so I will buy a ticket. I will check in online, and I don't have to pass through immigration. So it's just a local flight from, just like from Islamabad to Karachi.
तो
So
आपको प्लेसेस के हवाले से, होटेलिंग के हवाले से, अकोमोडेशन के हवाले से क्या थोड़ा-सा इनसाइट थोड़ी-सी आप जो चीज़ें समझते हैं कि आप शेयर करने वाली हैं इस हवाले से?
I don't know. Like I think I'm a very positive person, so I don't feel I have never seen a problem anywhere. Uh, it's different. Like if you travel in Austria is more related, like more kind of like it has German architecture. So it in Prague is like in Czech Republic. It's another kind of, it's a very beautiful city. Then like if you go to Malta, it's you will feel actually like if Pakistan तरक्की कर ले अगले 50 साल में बेहतरीन किस्म की, तो it will be Malta. So because like Malta is British रहे Malta के अंदर भी until 70s. So it's just like Pakistan. You will see that British architecture in Malta as well. They drive just like in Pakistan or UK on the right side, but the rest of the Europe is on left side. So it was one of my best trips. Baki in France, I've been to Paris for I was there for like around 10, 12 days. It was like French people are a little bit different as compared to other people. So like they will not speak English. Like people hate speaking English. Even in Italy, they will speak with you Italian, and like once they know that you cannot speak Italian, they will start fluently speaking English with you. French people are a little bit more into this as compared to Italian as well. So you cannot just survive in France with English language. So like you need to know some basics of French. German people are very nice, but they are totally usually like they are into their self. Like they don't interact much with outsiders. So like if you have to be in their circle, like you need a contact to be, so you can get in. And Swedish people are very shy. They don't like to talk. Like if even on the New Year Eve, the city center was empty. It was like complete emptiness. Even on Christmas, it's empty. Like their special, what they do is like they go to their workplace, and from their workplace they usually just go directly to their home, and from their home they usually go to a gym, or like they will just go for running or like do some physical activity and then back home. So their best activity is go home. So usually, like in Sweden, out there on a street, you will find empty streets in my city, because people usually don't go out. This is one thing I didn't like when I moved here, because in Italy it was very lively. Like you go out and you don't feel like the city is empty. People were out there, like there was always some happening, even going on in the city center. But in Sweden, it's not like that. But like again, it's the more you travel, the more you learn about different places. And but I will suggest everybody to travel as much as you can once you have an opportunity and you are here. Like if you are coming here and staying in your room and going to your lab and then room and lab, and you're not using this opportunity to travel around, I think it's you're not doing justice to yourself. It is important, like if you have the availability and resource, because you will have the resources, you will be getting really handsome amount of pay every month. So it's very cheap to travel inside Europe. It's not expensive at all. It is super cheap. So you can actually use flight. You can use, there are these airline, Ryanair, Wizz Air, or, so you can buy a 20 euro ticket from Stockholm to Manchester. So it's even like less than that. I took a return flight from Genoa to Malta for 15 euros. So it was like around 1 hour 40 minutes flight, and it was return flight for just 15 euros. So like it is super cheap to travel inside Europe. So use this opportunity to travel as much as you can.
इसमें अकोमोडेशन का तो मेन आप टिकट तो वैसे सस्ता है, इसमें अकोमोडेशन बाकी चीज़ें भी ज़रा थोड़ा-सा बता दें उस हवाले से भी?
Well, usually आप जब PhD करने आते हो तो you you are you have this opportunity to meet people from different nationalities. Even a lot of Pakistanis living in your city, or like all of your friends. After 1 year, people will start scattering to different places. So your first impact is you find a friend, go to his place, stay there, and then explore the city. And even if you don't have anybody in that city, like you can use hostels. Hostels are very common in Europe. In every city you will find student hostels. You can pay maybe 20 euro 15 euros a night. You just go there, sleep, and in the morning you leave. They are not very fancy hotels, but like they are very cheap, economical places. Then you can I have some friends, they do camping. They usually go out every weekend. They go for camping. So like even in Sweden, it's legal to put a camp anywhere in Sweden. So there are campsites in whole Europe. So you can actually use those sites. You just buy a camp, like you can get a camp for maybe 30 euros, one time investment. You carry your camp with you, you put a camp, and then you explore more. But that's usually when you want to explore the countryside, not the urban area. Then you can, there's this couch surfing thing. So like if you are able to use that, like you can make contacts, you can use that as well. Or like you can find some cheap Airbnb at the end of the day. So it's not that difficult. Like when you are traveling with 2 or 3 people in a group, it doesn't matter if even if you are staying at a hotel.
गुड। अच्छा, आखिरी क्वेश्चन आपसे, आप एडवाइस देना चाहें जो मास्टर के लिए स्टूडेंट्स आना चाहें, पीएचडी के लिए अलग एडवाइस दे दें, और जो पोस्ट डॉक के लिए आना चाहें, और चौथी भी शामिल करूँगा, स्पेशली ट्रैवलिंग के लिए कोई आना चाहे?
आई थिंक पाकिस्तान से तो सबको आना चाहिए, और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आना चाहिए मास्टर्स के लिए। इफ़ यू find an opportunity with scholarship, there is no chance कि आपको वो मिस करो किसी भी तरह। आपको वो चीज़ अवेल करनी करनी है। उसके बाद if you have the expenses to finance yourself for at least 1 year, तब भी आ जाओ। Like you will find a lot of opportunities here to further uh, then like you can even save your second year's fee, even if there is a fee for yourself in the second year. But like I always suggest like people to come to Germany for masters, because it's free education. And the block amount usually people are afraid of in the beginning, that's your own money. You will eventually get back every penny that you submitted in the beginning. Masters के लिए भी, if you can afford and if you can come, you should come there. You should not think, or like you should not waste time. For PhD, you should, it's like thousand times better than doing a PhD in Pakistan. So आपको बाहर आना ही चाहिए. यहाँ पे there are more opportunities. There you can like even during your PhD you can build contacts. You can, during your PhD you can build contacts in a way that you can, your postdoc is ready right after your PhD. So in my case, even in my case, there was no gap between PhD and a postdoc. So I just had to wait 1 month. That too, I actually started working from home with the Swedish people. So my salary was kind of, there was no break in my salary. It was right after my PhD, I was getting a postdoc salary. So once you are here, there are thousands of opportunities. Look, so getting from Pakistan to here is a little bit difficult, but once you are here, then there's no going back. You will have opportunities at your doorsteps. So all you need is to do is find a little bit. But like, you should, everybody should come. I strongly suggest this. Even people with families who want to move here with PhDs, they can find positions in countries like Nordics, like all of these, Scandinavia, ये जो Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, even Netherlands. They directly give you family visa. So like जो problems Italy, Spain या Germany में लोगों को face करने पड़ते हैं family visa को लेके, वो वाले प्रॉब्लम्स यहाँ पे इन कंट्रीज में नहीं है. तो दे कैन फोकस मोर टुवर्ड्स कंट्रीज लाइक जो नॉर्डिक्स हैं या नेदरलैंड ये, या even Belgium is good with family reunion visa policy. So they can focus these countries and they should move. All you need to do is write a really good research proposal, a really good motivation letter, a cover email. uh, just write these things, make them ready, and whenever there's an opportunity that you see, modify a little bit your research proposal, your motivation letter, and just send your documents there, and eventually you will get a position. All you need to do is keep trying. Everybody gets a position. Like all the people that I know who started trying, सबके पास opportunities हैं अभी. और some are here already, some are in transition, but eventually everybody is coming. So all you need to do is trying. अगर पाकिस्तान में like if you are just thinking that that opportunity will just come at your doorstep, that's not going to happen. So you need to put some effort into it. That is the first thing. And once you start putting some effort, I am sure inshallah everybody is going to get a position soon.
गुड। अच्छा, इसमें 1 ईयर का एक्सपीरियंस के एक्सपेंस के हवाले से बताया, तो वो थोड़ा-सा अप्रॉक्सिमेट बता दें कितने, अगर आपके पास 1 ईयर के एक्सपेंस है तो आप यू शुड कम?
Usually, like it's by expense, I mean is the fee. If you can afford the first fee of your university in Sweden, you can come. But once you are here, like usually what happens is 1 or 2 months maximum. Then all your documents are ready to go, and then you can start working here in Sweden. So, like once you start working in Sweden, you can actually earn your living here, and you can save a little bit. So one important, I will also bring this point here. Once you are coming to do any academic degree, I will request everybody to not leave it in the middle. So finish that. So it's important to complete your education once you come here, because last year there was a report from Migration Office Sweden, where they elaborately pointed out Pakistani students who actually are coming here and not finishing their education. And that is one reason that after that report, the very next year, a lot of Pakistani students' visas were rejected because they see everybody in the same light. Then once it happens, so I will request everybody, once you are coming, just think really hard before coming. But once you are here, you have to complete your education. So it is important for not just for you but for other people as well, because like once you are here, you are actually representing a big same pool of people from Pakistan. So if you are not doing things in the right way, so you are actually presenting the whole community altogether. So it can bring problems to everybody later on.
ये अरसलान अहमद है, इन्होंने कुछ क्वेश्चन किया था कि मशीन लर्निंग के हवाले से कोई जॉब न्यू अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं, इस हवाले से कोई कमेंट करना चाहें आप?
Machine learning, I see daily, I see a lot of opportunities on LinkedIn. You just type machine learning engineer on LinkedIn job portal and search location. You specify the region Sweden, and you will eventually find. Even if inside Sweden you can specify region Stockholm or Malmo or like any other city, you will find a lot of opportunities. Machine learning is very fancy these days here in Sweden. So like there are a lot of companies hiring people for specifically machine learning.
थैंक यू उस्मान साहब, थैंक यू वेरी मच। डिटेल्ड सेशन हुआ है, थोड़ा लंबा ही हो गया, लेकिन आपने पेशेंटली सारे आंसर दिए हैं। रियली थैंकफुल फॉर दिस, फॉर योर टाइम एंड फॉर दिस पेशेंटली आंसरिंग ऑल द क्वेश्चंस। Thank you very much, and still we'll have any discussion, so I will invite you again. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
No problem. Have a nice day. I hope